never leave us. And I wanna kiss you like you feel alright, but alright, let's see here. Today, 5 day, 4 day. So on the 3-day time frame here. So each daily candle, or each candle is a sorry, let me do my introduction. Hi there, welcome guys. Welcome. Today is December 11th, 2024. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today, I didn't necessarily have a daily bias coming into this morning or just in general today, but we did have CPI news get released at 8:30 here, Eastern time. So I don't know how you guys want to calculate that into your time, but yeah, we had CPI news. So I knew coming into today that I wasn't going to have a bias. However, because there was CPI news, I am going to be able to trade based off of, you know, the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame, and once it closes here at 10 a.m. So once we close at 10 a.m., I will be able to have a morning bias, right? A morning objective, right? Will prices take out, you know, this 4-hour high slash 8-hour high, or will we take out the 4-hour low or the 8-hour low? Well, we close on those two time frames, on the 4-hour and the 8-hour, in about 20 minutes or so. So depending on how we close will tell me if we are going to be will tell me if we're going to be bullish or bearish for the morning at least, and it will give me a morning objective. Because today, like I said, based on this daily candle here yesterday, this down close candle, I didn't really have a I didn't really have much of an objective. We retraced back inside this daily fair value gap, and we didn't really disrespect it, right? We came into it, never closed below it, so it's reasonable for us to have this push up higher here with CPI, because the story that I'm being told right now is that, hey, we retraced back inside this daily fair value gap, we never disrespected it, and now we're having a push up displacement on that 1-hour time frame, and most likely the 4-hour time frame too. But yeah, that, like I said, the 4-hour time frame will tell its story in about 20 minutes or so. But yeah, this push up here, this push up higher, makes complete sense. Notice here how on the weekly time frame, we had this massive, we moved up a decent amount here last week. So were we really anticipating for prices to retrace back or trade all the way back into the weekly immediate rebalance here? Not necessarily. To this week, I do want to see us create a weekly fair value gap, and depending on how we create the fair value gap will tell me more. Once we open up on next week. But like I said, let's just focus on the week right now and the daily right now. The daily time frame at least. So the weekly time frame, we have already completed the objective. We took out, previous week's high. We actually have SMT here between ES and NQ. So ES hasn't taken out previous week's high yet. However, NQ did. So there is a bearish SMT divergence. However, it appears that we're probably going to continue to trade higher here. So maybe ES could catch up by the end of this week. But as of right now, I am bullish. I do want to see us, trade continue higher. So I do want to mark out this buy side liquidity here. That's buy side liquidity, and this is all-time highs. So we have all-time highs here. So we actually could end up taking out all-time highs here on NQ today, but like I said, I would like to wait for more narrative and more. I want to see more time get passed until I can really say something or really confirm a bias. There's an SMT here with ES YM. But yeah, I do want to see higher prices here. Let's see how the move looked like. So we had the CPI. This CPI range right here isn't necessarily that large, to be honest. Not even 445 points, not that large, but we did have a pretty large after effect though, however. Wow, that's a pretty large RTH gap. Buy side liquidity is better to be taken, and you want to also keep in here this today. I do want to point your attention to 21648 0.75. Note that opening price. That is the weekly opening price there, right? In cases where you can anticipate a candle to create a up close candle, right? So an up close candle is always going to look something like this. This is an up close candle, and let me make this green so you guys can actually. So this is an up close candle. We have the open here, and then the dip lower, expansion, and then the retracement. Basically, that retracement is our TGIF. Every single candle has a retracement. There's always going to be a close to a candle. Some candles might have a TGIF setup like this, but I'll get more into TGIF in a separate video. But when you can anticipate an up close candle to be created with the next candle, right? So for me, I can anticipate that the next 4-hour candle, we're going to take out this 4-hour candle's high right here, and maybe even expand higher, right, on this very next 4-hour candle. Am I anticipating for the next 4-hour candle to have an immediate rebalance? Not necessarily. I want to see this next 4-hour candle today take out all-time highs. And if I can anticipate that, right, if I'm anticipating an up-close candle, I want to be a buyer below this black line. In this candle at least, right? I want to be a buyer somewhere within this gray box. You know, I don't want to be buying above here. I don't want to be buying here. It's not the most optimal. I mean, you can still possibly take some, you know, trades up here, but the most optimal buys will be within that manipulation leg lower, right? You want to be a buyer below the open when you're anticipating a up close candle, and you want to be a buyer below, or I'm sorry, above the open. You want to be a seller above the open whenever you're anticipating a down close candle. Which is why I'm telling you guys to note out the weekly open right now. The weekly open is an extremely important price point because we're trading back inside it again, and it's reasonable. It's reasonable for us to be trading to have this dip lower below the weekly open to expand higher, right? We came back inside this daily fair value gap again, and I do want to point out that we didn't trade into the consequent encroachment, but we traded right at the first quadrant of the fair value gap here. So there's, if you break up the fair value gap in fourths, we traded right at the first quadrant, and we expanded higher. So what I'm trying to say is it's reasonable for this weekly candle now to, you know, this is the 4-hour candle, dip below the weekly open once again to expand higher. That is what I'm anticipating. So with that in mind, just like I said, just pay attention to that weekly open, because if you're giving a model that allows you to be a buyer below the weekly open, you are, you know, that's very, very good. And there's been, you know, there's been a good amount of times where that has happened to me, where, you know, I'm given a model and I'm actually able to buy below the weekly open, and those are the times where I can, you know, where I find the most success in my trades, or in the most, you know, larger moves is when I'm buying below the weekly open, because I'm trading with the weekly time frame here, and the weekly time frame has a lot of, you know, there's a lot of expansion that goes in that weekly time frame. There was a trade here that I took on the weekly time frame. I'm not completely too sure if it's, I have it on here right now. I believe it was this one, maybe it was this one. So in this case, so this is the 4-hour time frame, right? So there's a little 4-hour indicator right here. It says 4-hour time frame. So each one of these candles are the 4-hour candles. But these sets of candles are the daily candles. These sets of candles are the weekly candles, and this set of candles is the monthly candle. Notice how I have this comment here drawn to this up close candle, and this is the weekly time frame. Keep in mind, I say pay attention to how this weekly candle closes. I can anticipate for prices to take out previous week's high. This is my higher time frame objective for this trade. So the weekly time frame is suggesting that we will take out previous week's high. And notice, so this is a daily candle. I have drawn a little line here connected to this specific daily candle, and this daily candle is also suggesting the same idea, that we're going to take out previous day high. So now that I can align, or now that prices has aligned the daily candle with the weekly candle, or the daily time frame with the weekly order flow, I can take a model, because after we take out previous day high, why else should we be continuing higher to attack previous week's high, right? So the model here I used to be a part of the weekly order flow is the daily model. Notice how the daily high and the weekly high are both different highs, but they are both suggesting the same idea for higher prices. This is known as as an expansion model. And the reason why I named it expansion is because after we complete the daily objective, right, we should expand even higher beyond that because of what the weekly time frame is telling me. And here's a little up close, not up close, but like a little zoomed in. So this is the 1 hour time frame, and notice how there's this is a 6 hour candles here. These sets of candles are the 6 hour time frame candles, and you guys see where that weekly open. So if I'm anticipating the next weekly candle to be an up close candle, what did I say before? I want to be a buyer below the weekly open. So if there's any, fair value gaps, or if you guys like trading with order blocks, breaker blocks, whatever, if you're able to get a model, find a model that presents itself and it's below the weekly open at a time where you're anticipating a up closed weekly candle, this is everything aligning right here, right? So this is all the gears. So if you guys were in my live stream yesterday, this is all the gears kind of starting to, be in alignment with each other and start, turning and turning. So I take my entry at the 6 hour fair value gap. I'm targeting previous day high, but keep in mind that previous week's high is also one of my targets as well. I just want to keep it to at least a 1-to-1 and allow for more movement. So prices dips at Sunday, we dip into that 6 hour fair value gap, and the time when we start expanding higher is when we have volatility in the markets. We get an injection of volatility through news events, through maybe even present events where something major happens, but so we kind of consolidate here for I don't know, I kind of don't want to count how many hourly candles these are, but it's a decent amount. I'm guessing maybe around 10. So we consolidate for about 10 hours. So that's kind of, that's understandable. Asian session doesn't really have much movement. And the London session, I believe there wasn't really much news here. But when we opened up during the New York AM session, that's when we started getting that completion, that move higher. So I actually do want to note this too. Don't notice time when we completed the objective. It was during the New York. It is due to the volatility that is injected during that session. So don't be afraid that prices isn't current. Could just be waiting for the right time. Alright, so we are about to open up here, or not open up, but we're about to close on the 4-hour candle and the 8-hour candle in about 5 minutes. And when I switch my screen onto the trading screens, right, I want you guys to take a look at how the 4-hour candle and the 8-hour candle looks like. And keep in mind, I haven't been paying attention to it either. But look, just notice the breakdown. I'm going to break it down for you guys and give you guys an insight of how I give myself a morning objective and a morning bias. So here, going into the 4-hour time frame. So I know I have selected the hourly time frame, but I have an indicator that shows me 4-hour time frame, 8-hour time frame. So these are just indicators. So based on how we are looking like here on this 4-hour candle and this 8-hour candle, I can anticipate for both of those time frames, I can anticipate for both of those candles to take out this green line. And this green line is 21,697. So that's the price level that I'm targeting for the morning objective. I want to see prices attack 21,697.50. This is basically my morning objective, right? For the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame. Both of those time frames, they have the same high. And I want to see 21, like I said, 21,697.50 get attacked. The reason why? Because notice how the 4-hour candle and the 8-hour candle closed. It's extremely bullish, right? I can anticipate for this next 4-hour candle to be a open. We dip, maybe we could dip below the weekly opening price and then continue higher. That's what I am anticipating for this next 4-hour candle, right? Would I anticipate a immediate rebalance here on this 4-hour candle? Not necessarily. This is going even further into the future here, but I am anticipating for us to create some sort of 4-hour fair value gap, something like this. I want to see us create a 4-hour fair value gap, and I don't want to see us get a immediate rebalance. And immediate rebalance means that we have to trade all the way down to here. And is that reasonable for prices to do? Is that efficient for prices to do? Not really. So here, us taking out all-time highs here again on NQ it could happen because, like I said, ES hasn't taken out all-time highs yet. And if we do end up taking out all-time highs here on ES, if we do end up taking out all-time highs, which I am anticipating, once we do take out all-time highs on NQ and ES hasn't caught up, I'm going to sit on the sidelines because there's that would create a SMT between the markets. And yeah, it just, after we complete a major objective, you don't want to be a part of anything. So like I said, for this upcoming 4-hour candles objective, I want to see us take out the 4-hour high. And the 4-hour high, once again, is 21,697.50. And what is in alignment with us continuing higher? It's reasonable for us to target all-time highs. There hasn't been SMT yet, and it's reasonable for us to continue higher here. But now the matter is, are we going to get in a model, some sort of alignment to attack, the 4-hour high and all-time highs? I need to actually get into my trading account here real quick, so give me 1 second. But now it depends on if we are given a model to target, the 4-hour high and the 8-hour high. Because like I said, that's where I'm targeting here. And it appears that we are not going to get an entry pattern. There is a 2-minute fair value gap here, but yeah, we weren't given an opportunity. So here I'm gonna show you guys here once again. I'm gonna go back to the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame. So what did we just do? We took out the 4-hour and the 8-hour objective. I know it's a very small move, that move up there, but if you apply this concept with every single candle, the amount of opportunities that's going to present itself there's going to be a lot of opportunities, right? In this specific case, the move to attack the 4-hour high wasn't that significant. It was only, let's see, we close here at 잠깐 알려줘. Yeah, but in this case, the move from the 4 hour candle's close and the 4 hour candle's high was not that significant. But like I said before, if you apply this concept or this theory for every single candle, like I said, the amount of opportunities that you will be presented with is a decent amount. You're gonna be presented with a decent amount of opportunities. But yeah, we have completed the 4 hour candles objective. So during the New York AM session, we do have two sets of objective here. So the first one being the 4 hour candle and the 8 hour candle at 10 a.m. right? So that gives us our first objective. The second one is going to be the 6 hour objective. So we close here on the 6 hour time frame in about 2 hours, and that's about, for me, it's going to be at 11 a.m. Central Time, whatever time frame you're at. But yeah, so apply the same concept to this apply this same concept to the 6 hour candle too, right? So let's just ignore that we haven't closed here on the 6 hour time frame. Let's just imagine that this 6 hour candle closes right now. What can we anticipate with this 6 hour candles? Are we going to continue higher here on the 6 hour candle right now, or will we attack the 6 hour candles low? Just looking at it here, I can anticipate for this 6 hour candle, if we close right now on the 6 hour candle, I can anticipate for us to attack the 6 hour candle's high. That's literally as simple as it can get. And the way you would target this, you don't simply just take a trade because it looks like it's going to take out the high. There's rule sets here that I've created. So now, based on the 6 hour candles order flow, right, I would go on to maybe the hourly time frame to get some sort of model to target the 6 hour high. But yeah, that's kind of basically all I have for you guys here. So because we have already completed the morning objective, I don't really have much to go over with you guys, at least on the charts right now. But like I said, I do want to see us create this 4 hour fair value gap. So within this next 4 hours, right? Within the next 4 hours, I don't want to see prices trade all the way back down into 21.456.50. I am not anticipating this next 4 hour candle to trade all the way back down into here. I want to see us, we could end up just quite possibly taking out all-time highs, having some sort of retracement, and just consolidating. But like I said, I'm not anticipating us to have an immediate rebalance, because the move here is far too large. It could happen, but I feel like it's going to be more efficient for prices to just create a 4 hour fair value gap. But yeah, that's kind of what I have coming into the future. But like I said, the morning objective for me, at least right now, has already been completed. 4 hour high has been completed, or 4 hour objective has been completed. 8 hour objective has been completed. And we actually just took out all-time highs too. So now that gives me even more of a reason to not really push anything here. Because now that we have completed a major objective here on NQ, whereas ES isn't even near all-time highs, and it hasn't even taken out previous week's high, whereas NQ has taken out previous week's high. So it's reasonable for us to, I don't know, but here I would just wait for more time. I would wait for the 6 hour candles I would wait for the 6-hour candle to close. It's 2 hours, but it's not like I'm going to be spending the next 2 hours like constantly on the charts. If you're a good time management, you should be doing things other than just staring at the charts for another 2 hours, right? And with, like I said, with the concepts that I'm applying here, I'm not generally, I know what time intervals I should be at the chart and which times I shouldn't be, because I'm an intraday scalper. I generally tend to take a look at the markets every 15 minutes, so I don't have to be in front of the charts every single minute, right? I kind of just look at it every 15 minutes, kind of see where we're at, and the major time frames, like I said, the major time intervals that I do really want to pay attention to is the 10 o'clock opening price, because like I said, the 4-hour candle and the 8-hour candle closes then. This 10-hour candle will close here at 2 p.m. Eastern time, or I'm sorry, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that's another objective here for the New York PM session. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for today. For at least on the live charts here, I do want to go over some of the trading pros and cons here with you guys, and some of the improvements, so that you guys can have a better understanding, or so that I can have a better understanding of what I'm really doing, and providing some more insights for you guys too as to how I kind of view the markets. So the pros and cons here from the week of November 25th and November 29th. I wasn't able to do a pros and cons last week because during the weekend, I was away from my house. I was in Austin, and I didn't really I didn't bring any of equipment or anything like that with me to be able to complete these. And when I got back, trading has been already back into session. But yeah, so going into the positives of previous week, the first thing that I do want to note is that I was able to maintain composure and discipline, right? And I was able to continue to follow my rules, continue to view prices objectively and analytically, right? There's no emotions that should be expressed when trading. Nothing should trigger your emotions here. It's just simply just information. So every single trade or every single model that is presented in front of me, I always ask myself, okay, if I'm going to take this model right now, what's the higher time frame objective? Some of the higher time frame reasons for prices to move is to rebalance inefficiencies, to retrace back into discount or premium, so basically retrace back into equilibrium, to generate liquidity, and to take liquidity. That's the 4 reasons why prices moves. And if I can't answer that question, what is the current higher time frame objective? If I can't answer that question, I'm not going to take the trade. And so that's the first check mark, right? That's another step of me being disciplined. The second check mark is, okay, if I know what the objective is, how am I going to enter this trade, right? What's my entry model? My entry model is always going to be a fair value gap. It's up to you guys to decide what you guys like to enter off of. Order blocks, breaker blocks, mitigation blocks, whatever it may be. That's up to you guys. But for me, I have decided that it's going to be a fair value gap. They're generally easier to spot, and it's not subjective. A fair value gap is on everybody's screens. It's literally the exact same thing. You cannot change what a fair value gap is. And for me here, if I tell you guys, okay guys, take a look at the order block. You're probably thinking, okay, an order block, if we're up close candle, if we're going to continue higher, down close candles should be order blocks, right? So I'm gonna ask you guys, were you thinking this as the order block? Were you thinking Were you thinking it being this candle as a set of down close candles? You know, for me, ICT teaches, it's the way ICT teaches, it's kind of you know, kind of subjective. He kind of makes things kind of vague, and it kind of forces you as the trader to kind of figure out things on you know, he makes you navigate through things, but he, you know, I never really like that, so I stick to fair value gaps. And a fair value gap is, it's clear, it's very clear cut. Like you can't, like my fair value gap here at 10:07 is literally gonna look exactly the same as yours, right? You cannot change that. This isn't here. This isn't present in your own charts. This is present in your charts. This fair value gap. So you cannot. It's very objective, which is why I chose the fair value gap. So back to my pros and cons. My entry pattern is a fair value gap, and the requirement, like I said, is fair value gaps, right? And for fair value gaps to be created, there must be displacement, and that's the second requirement. So requiring displacement on the lower time frames to allow me to take the model, right? For me to even be able to enter the trade is a fair value gap. So, you know, being disciplined to my rules, staying composed, allowing the markets to come to me. Second, utilizing the fractality of the markets. So every single time frame, like I said, like I've introduced to you guys, right? The 4-hour time frame. What did I tell you guys? The 4-hour time frame. I wanna see this 4-hour time frame or 4-hour high to be taken. But every single time frame has an objective. This 8-hour time frame has an objective. Later, two more hours, this 6-hour time frame will have an objective. In 4 more hours, this 10-hour candle is going to have an objective, right? Every single candle here has an objective. It's not even on the hourly time frame. You can go on the weekly time frame too. This weekly candle right here. Yeah, got my map. This weekly candle has an objective. Every single candle that you see here present right now has an objective. Right? Let's see here. Even on the minute time, on the 15-minute time frame, every single 15-minute candle has an objective. If you can understand that the markets are fractal, right? And this is the idea that ICT states, and it you know, it didn't really click with me until like I started viewing candles as open, high, low, close. But he states that if you can view a 4-hour candle as you would view a daily candle, a new world opens up. That very quote, it took me a while to understand what he meant, but that basically means that it's like this. I showed you guys this yesterday too. It's literally like this. It's just a set of gears, right? Let me see a clear picture. But like this smaller gear could be, you know, the 4-hour candle. This larger gear could be the daily candle. This smaller gear right here could be an hourly candle. But they all have the same, like they're all round. They all have like little spikes coming out of them. So whenever they connect, they start moving. Like, think of it kind of like that. So that's kind of how I kind of like got into that, not mentality shift, but it's more like a technical shift where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see things more clearly here. And yeah, so being able to utilize the fractality of the markets, and I went over what I mean by this too in my, you know, most recent videos, because I was able to take a 2-hour time frame trade back to back with a 30-minute time frame trade. And third thing here is accepting that the markets will come to me when it decides to do so. So this basically just goes over that the markets will the markets is the you can't control the markets. You don't decide when if it goes up or down. If I could control if the markets goes up or down, I wouldn't be making this video for you guys here right now. I would be uh, 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 I would be in my private jet, freaking traveling the world. But as of right now, I kind of need to, I'm, so um like I said, I have to accept the fact that I don't control market behaviors and market moves. I am simply just a observer of price, right? I dictate. The only thing that I can dictate is my decisions on if I'm going to enter the trade or not. I dictate on how I view prices, right? But prices isn't going to go up because I tell prices to move up higher. Prices isn't going to continue lower because I tell prices to move lower, right? And you just kind of have to accept that. And having a time stop, this is going to be for a completely different video. It's a little bit it's kind of too hard to explain as of right now. But some of the negatives here are that I need to properly risk manage on every single trade. I can't be discriminate on a trade over another trade. Every single trade should be traded the same and with the same proper risk management. Second thing that I could improve on, at least for me, is to be focused on whatever that is that I'm doing, right? And this applies to literally everything. This doesn't just apply to trading. If you can apply your focus and really focus in whatever that you're doing at hand and like right in front of you, that task is going to be completed a lot faster. And it's kind of harder for me to do this because I have ADHD, so I tend to kind of like spiral off at times. I look at a shiny object and I get really mesmerized into it. But you can't necessarily succeed in trading if you're attracted to every single shiny object. Just stick to one, really polish your craft, and then whatever the future lies, then you do that. But just stay focused on the task at hand. Some of the improvements here, so this just goes it's just to really affirm what I need to do to be a better trader and just to be a better person in general. Continue to practice patience and discipline to allow the markets to come to me. If the market doesn't present itself a trade model, or it doesn't present anything to me, that's completely fine. It is up to me to decide if I'm going to take an opportunity or not. And I told myself this every single day, every single time I step into my seat and trade, is that if I'm given an opportunity, I will take it. If I'm not, that's completely fine too. Every single trade must have a higher time frame. Like I said, must have a higher time frame objective. Are we rebalancing a inefficiency? Are we retracing back into discount or premium? Are we taking out higher time frame of liquidity? If we aren't doing those things, I'm not going to take the trade. Second, do we have displacement on the lower time frame model? Is there an entry pattern for me? If there isn't an entry pattern, but the idea where prices wants to go is super clear, I'm still not gonna take that trade. If there's no displacement if there's no entry model or entry pattern, I'm not taking the trade at all. So there must be two things that get checked off before I take a trade. Third, continue to pay attention to SMT. Like I said before, this is something that helps kind of prevent you from taking any unnecessary loss. But like I said, ES, there's an SMT here between ES and NQ. ES hasn't taken out its all-time highs, whereas NQ has. So there's an SMT divergence. And risk manage properly. Every single trade I should be managing risk the same. And that basically goes over every single thing that I've wanted to go over here with you guys. Last thing is I do want to choose a quote here for you guys. And the quote here for today is, "You are the architect of your own destiny." So this, the book that I'm reading right now is, the name of it, or the title of it, is Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. It's a self-improvement book. It brings up concepts that you may have already been introduced to, but it just puts into writing and really affirms that that idea. So today's quote is, "You are the architect of your own destiny." So you are in control of your destiny, right? Whatever actions that you may have done in the past, whatever things that you may have said in the past, or anything that has happened to you in the past has created you to be who you are currently right now. And if you want to change, you have to change yourself, and you have to do things differently if you want to, be whoever that you want to be. Everything that you are, everything that you become, from then on is up to you. I'm gonna put that. Alright, so that's the daily quote. I said, make good decisions, have good positive thoughts. You are in control of your life. And I'll see you guys possibly tomorrow. I should wait. Today's Wednesday. Wait, never mind. Tomorrow I am not going to be streaming. Tomorrow is PPI, so just make sure to watch out for that. And like I said, apply the same concepts, right? Wait for the PPI news to be released, and wait for the 10-hour candle, or I'm sorry, not 10-hour candle, but wait for 10 a.m. because after 10 a.m. opens, we get an objective, 4-hour candle objective, and the 8-hour candle objective. Wait for that, and apply the same concepts that I have been introducing to you guys today with tomorrow's price action, right? But yeah, I won't be streaming today. I may or may not be streaming on Friday, so just beware for that. And if you guys do want to reach out to me, you guys can join my Discord. I do believe I have a link into it in my YouTube bio if you guys want to join. But yeah, thank you guys so much for